Hi, this is Derek. So for this year's 31 Days of Horror, my October horror movie review marathon, I thought I'd kick it off with something from the master, Wes Craven, the late great Wes Craven. We lost him recently, and that's The People Under the Stairs. This is my VHS copy here. I know there's like a new Blu-ray or something with kind of crazy Photoshop cover art and bare bones features, but also possibly I think there's a Shout Factory release too, if I'm not mistaken. But I like this. It has the original cover art, which is really cool. You see the house, you see the skull in the sky. It's pretty cool. I like it. When it comes to Wes Craven's movies, I mean, there's definitely the well-known iconic movies like Nightmare on Elm Street, Scream. Those are just, names that everybody recognizes. But then there's stuff that falls kind of in the middle of the pack, like The People Under the Stairs. And I'd say, in terms of just being well-known, in terms of general quality, I'd say this is a little bit higher in the middle of the pack. This is definitely one of his, more memorable and I'd say daring types of movies, because it's something a little bit different, because you got to figure this is kind of right off Freddy Mania of the 80s. It's an early 90s film, with something like Nightmare on Elm Street, with something like Scream. I can tell you pretty much anything about it, because I'm just like so into those movies and want to know everything about them. People on the Stairs, I have no idea how it was made, what was the force behind it, Wes Craven's intentions behind it, except for maybe a little blurbs here and there. I know, one interview he said, I want to make this a commentary or an allegory of Reaganomics, basically. That's pretty much all I knew about it, so I don't know too much about the overall making of the movie. But you got to figure, I mean, after Freddy Mania, he's probably, making a good buck off just the residuals off character credits alone. And already at that point, even after, not even just Freddy, but, Hills Have Eyes, Last House on the Left, he's a name brand for horror specifically, and he could make any movie and there would be an audience for it, just because he's this name brand, and people know, I'm going to go see a Wes Craven movie, I'm going to get a great horror movie, I'm going to be scared, and it's going to be entertaining and great. So he's already earned that right at this point in his career. But with any auteur, there is always a drive to figure, hey, I got to deliver what my audience expects of me, but at the same time I want to keep things fresh, keep things different. So when you see People Under the Stairs, it is something quite different. It is basically, it's like this early 90s urban horror film. The main character is, I think he's like a 6 or 7, 8-year-old black kid named Fool. Well, that's his nickname. His real name is Dexter, Poindexter, and he's the star of the movie. And the whole movie is primarily black cast, except for the antagonists of the movie who are white. And so to see this, I guess he must have been in his 50s at this point. This 50-year-old man making this movie, with this type of commentary. There is kind of, a social commentary to it, because it is a horror movie, but at the same time, I'd say it's trying to say a little bit something, but still within, the world of horror movies. So see a director like this try something like this, I think is fascinating. It really is. So, I mean, basically the plot, not too unlike a lot of plots, like very kind of cliched plots that you'll see, like basically big rich asshole is trying to shut down the community. It's like almost one of those let's save the community center kind of movies, except it definitely takes different turns than that. So housing projects are being shut down. One family left, and that's Fool's family, but they're struggling to make ends meet, and they can't pay the rent, and they're going to be kicked out. Fool is doing his best, but he can't really do too much, being a kid and all. Sister's got a kid to take care of. His mother's dying. So it's a pretty tough situation to be in. And that's, I think, even before we see the other horrific elements that come into play. There's like a real life type of horror to that. I mean, what other things, can we find horrific aside from like monsters, ghouls, things like that? But there is a very real fear in losing your loved ones and not having a place to call your home, basically. I mean, losing your home, that's a fear. I mean, people live with that type of fear every day, whether you're, comparatively well off or whether you are in, a lower demographic when it comes to your finances, basically. But what kind of sets it off is one of the characters, the boyfriend of Fool's sister, played by Ving Rhames, actually, probably one of his earlier roles, and he's great. You know, he hashes his plans like, hey, you know, the people who are doing this, they have this house here, and they got gold, so let's steal the gold. Good plan. So it's like basically them trying to break into the house, get the gold, but there's definitely a lot more than they bargained for. What with the crazy family that lives there. It's a husband and wife and their daughter. Though, are they husband and wife? Maybe I think they're like brother and sister, actually. It's a really fucked up family. And, of course, the characters, they're Everett McGill and Wendy Robbie. They're the mother and father, and they're fucking batshit insane. They do these great performances. They're really over the top, but in the best possible kind of way, because this is a surreal type of movie. It is like this journey through hell, and basically, like, it's kind of overshadowed in the beginning of the movie, where Fool's sister is like using the tarot cards, and it kind of foreshadows like going into the sun with the dog. The sun could represent hell. The dog represents, well, the fucking dog in this movie. There's a dog who's just foaming at the mouth, trying to kill everybody, and that's pretty terrifying too. And of course, the people under the stairs, within the walls of the house, who, I guess that's kind of where I wouldn't expect I mean, I don't consider myself an expert on Reaganomics, but, you know, that's probably where some of the commentary comes in, you know, like the trickle-down economics, like the rich, you know, family, they have everything, they give the scraps to the, you know, underlings in the house and all that stuff, and they're all crazy and zombified and terrifying and stuff like that, and there's just so much crazy shit going on in the movie, you know, very terrifying things, and again, like, not just with, you know, the crazy shit that goes on, but also very real things. Like, there's a fool, but then there's the girl who's the daughter of the husband and wife in the house, and I think there is an interesting parallel to draw between the two, because, I mean, Fool is losing everything. He has nothing. Well, she technically has everything. She has the mother. She has the father. They're in good health, which is good for her. Plenty of money lying around, apparently, but you know, she's in a very bad place in an abusive household, and you know, with the child abuse that we see, those are probably the hardest scenes to watch in this movie. I mean, they don't go too over the top with that, which I appreciate, but they do it enough to really get under your skin. So there's some, you know, pretty hard to watch moments with that. So I think there is an interesting parallel between the two characters, and kind of just where they are in their youth, and what's possibly going to lie ahead in their future, depending on the decisions that they make within this movie. So there's a good journey between the two kids. And, you know, normally I don't like movies with kids. I mean, some kids can be super annoying, but I do think, you know, the lead actor here plays Fool. His name is Brandon Adams. He's very good. Not great, but I think he carries the movie well. And I don't really think he's done much after this. Like, you always like, kind of like think the worst of child actors, like, oh, they're gonna grow up and be fucked up and shit. But I think more often than not, you see kids like this, they appear in maybe one or two movies, and they pay for their college, and they work in real estate or something like that. So not everybody's gonna be, you know, like a Macaulay Culkin or Corey Haim or something like that. So I mean, there's that. But that's totally sidebar there. But anyway. I think the kid is good. I think there's terrifying scenes in the movie, very high energy, a lot of madness, a lot of carnage in this movie, especially when the dad's in his fucking gimp outfit with the fucking shotgun. It is nuts. You know, whatever's in Wes Craven's head is definitely spilled out into this movie in the best possible kind of way. So I think it's horrific ingenuity that's brought to pretty much every movie that he's done. This one very much included. And the thing is, considering all that, considering the horrific elements, considering kind of the social commentary too, I mean, the characters are very strong in Wes Craven's movie. The thing is, what I've noticed with most of Wes Craven's movies is that the lead characters that we have, they're not written in such a way that they're just meant to endure horrific things and survive it. They're more about definitely enduring these horrific things, but confronting these horrific things. So it's like they have to find some kind of cunning, some kind of strength within themselves to kind of outsmart, outwit the horror that they encounter, basically. And I mean, that's true of Nancy in A Nightmare on Elm Street, as we've seen. That's true of Sidney in Scream, and that's definitely true of Fool in this movie, because, I mean, it reaches a point, not to give too much away, but it does reach a point where he's basically scot-free. He's escaped the house, he has some money, he can save the day, basically, for himself, but he kind of sees another opportunity where, I'm not done with this guy yet. I can do a little bit more. And that's kind of the point in the movie. We're like, okay, we really like this character. This character's strong. This character, is special, I think. So it all leads up to the, kind of big finale with the movie. A very kind of unexpected final act, I'd say, just because we expect the movies to kind of go a certain way. They encounter the horror, they get away from the horror, and then it's over. No, here, the character's either dumb enough or determined enough, or perhaps both, to go back to the horror, to confront it, to outsmart it, and that's what we like about Wes Craven's characters. So I gotta say, this is a really good movie. Really, again, crazy elements to it. Just a journey through hell, and there's a lot to it. I mean, Wes Craven really brought a lot of thought into this movie, and just to see something like this at that point in his career, where he could pretty much do anything. He could do any monster movie, any generic piece of crap, slap his name on it, collect a big paycheck, and he'd be done with it, and he'd have, all the recognition to do so. But here's something just a little bit different. So he never really made the same movie twice, even, to the very end of his career in the Scream movies. So I got to say, this is definitely among his best. Again, middle of the pack, but higher in the middle of the pack, if that makes sense. And if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. It's a great October viewing. So thank you for watching my review. Be sure to comment, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff. Visit Derek237.com. That'd be great. Plenty more reviews. So we're just at the beginning here. So plenty more 31 Days of Horror coming at you, October 2015. Stay tuned.